When Mahogany Books made the jump from being an online store to a brick-and-mortar store in 2017, they became the first bookstore in 20 years to serve the Anacostia community. That's a historically Black community in Washington, D.C. So Jean Song spoke to the owners, and they say that their mission since 2007 has been to provide access to Black literature.
Mahogany Books has always been, in my mind, a protest movement of activism, putting Black folk in a position where they can improve their lives, feel empowered, feel valued, and go out and create a legacy for themselves and their family.
After a season of engaging customers behind closed doors due to the coronavirus, the owners of Mahogany Books in D.C. are opening another chapter in America's fight against systemic racism.
George Floyd and his death, and then even Amy Cooper in the park.
Please don't come close to me.
Those two events really, I think, had elicited visceral responses from the world. We've seen it year after year, but for America to now see that there was no excuse, and people immediately had to turn inward and say, oh my gosh, I could see myself in some of that. And they wanted to make a change. They wanted to do something different. And then a lot of them turned to books.
That hunger to read up on race and anti-racism coincided with a movement to support Black-owned businesses. Mahogany Books has seen a 400% surge in orders since the same time last year.
I've double-minded about it because, I definitely feel for the family. So that does make me kind of uneasy on the inside. But, what we've talked about is how do we engage, again, with intention so that us as a community, as a country, we're learning from this. And if we're purchasing these books, let's have a conversation.
For the past 13 years they've been in business, Ramunda and Derrick Young have championed Black authors and stories of the African diaspora. But they say the response this time feels different.
I lost a childhood friend, Terrence Crutcher, years ago in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I did not see the type of economic impact that I'm seeing now. When Trayvon Martin was killed, I did not see the type of economic impact that I see now, that we see now. But I think that the thing that sticks out in my mind is beyond the book. And beyond the book means you've gotten this great purchase, you've bought from a Black business. How do you open those pages, really internalize what you've read, and then change? It's one thing to read, then there's a second part to execute. And so for us, we're all excited, but we don't want it to be short-lived.
The Young stress the importance of sustained momentum to uproot racial injustice.
At the end of this month, there's still going to be a need, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's still a need for the curriculum in schools to be more representative of all the kids in those classrooms. There's still a need for gentrification not to be destroying families and their homes that they've been in for 10, 20, 30 years. It's in our education. It's in our healthcare.
I've never seen this many emails come from all these corporations who are now saying, we support, Black people, right? And I think part of me is excited. Another part is like, this is just trending, right? But I think they have an obligation, big and small. Look at their board of directors. It needs to be more reflective of who we are, having us around the table, right? We're just as brilliant, just as phenomenal. So businesses have an opportunity to tap into that talent. We're here.
Ultimately, this idea of business as activism,
But he's talking about these Black people and what freedom means,
continues to drive Mahogany Books.
But how do I make it now be something that I live and I breathe and I execute on? So have it in your calendar. Have it on your phone. Have your reoccurring payment goes to a Black business, because it's not just a Black business. We say that, but it's a business. And it's a business that is providing a service or a good to a community at large. But I think people need to make it that type of priority to make sure for us that Black books matter.